Hey you guys, it's Peter, and welcome to my channel, Peter's Reality TV Recaps and Opinions, better known as, and that's my opinion, with Peter Mon. And today I want to talk about The Bachelor. I have so many thoughts about The Bachelor. I finally got caught up. I am totally caught up. They are in Tulum, and by them, I mean Joey and his 3 girlfriends, okay? I think this spinoff of The Bachelor should be called Leaving Polygamy or something like that, because, I don't know, the more I watch the show, the more bizarre I think the whole concept for the show is. But what's so interesting to me is that the people that go on this show, there's been 362 seasons of it before the season that they're on, and it's like they don't know what they're getting themselves into. I don't know. It's very bizarre to me, okay? It's very bizarre. But I have to give you guys kind of a little bit of a background history. So I, previous to last fall, had never watched any part of the Bachelor Nation before, okay? And then I started watching The Golden Bachelor with Gary Jerry. I call him Gary Jerry because, his name is Gary, but he spells it like Jerry. He said that's the German version of spelling it, G-E-R-R-Y, but I've had actually people from Germany that have commented on my videos, and they're like, yeah, that's not the spelling of Gary in Germany. So I don't know where he comes up with that, but I like to call him Gary Jerry, okay? The biggest scam artist in the world that lied about his entire life and then married Teresa. Isn't that who he married? But anyway, so I watched the wedding and everything. And I completely became part of the Bachelor Nation and watching The Golden Bachelor. But at the same time, I was watching Bachelor in Paradise, which I have to tell you, I absolutely love. So if you don't know what Bachelor in Paradise is basically the rejects of, it's the truth, okay? That's exactly what it is. It's the rejects of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, the ones that didn't make it to the very end, or they did, and then they found out that true love on The Bachelor and Bachelorette doesn't really exist, and so then they come to the island, which was Mexico, and, which isn't, I guess it's not an island, but anyway, okay, they come to Bachelor in Paradise Island, Mexico, in Cancun. It was south of Cancun. Anyway, that's where Bachelor in Paradise was, and then it's like they try to find their true love on the beach, which basically means they fall in love like 5 times in 3 weeks, and then they cry a river because the person that they met isn't the person they thought it was, and then some people are there just because they want to be on the show, and other people are there to find true love, and they all get real upset. It's total drama, and I live for every moment of it. I have to say, now having watched The Bachelor, The Golden Bachelor, and Bachelor in Paradise is my absolute favorite, because what I know now is, it's the people that didn't really make it on The Bachelor and The Bachelorette, or they got cut early, that people have followed for a long time. Because it's like, somebody will come on the show like John, right? And then Judy will show up, and John will be like, oh my god, I watched Judy. And it's like, it's not just Judy, it's Judy from like Steve's season. And he'll be like, oh my god, I watched Judy on Steve's season, and then I followed her on Instagram, and then I said hi to her in her DMs, and she said hi to me too. So she's been like the one that I've been waiting to walk on the beach. That's what they say, right? So, I love Bachelor in Paradise. It's such a shit show. I'm still trying to, like, I think Olivia should reach out to me, and Olivia and I will do, because I loved Olivia on Bachelor in Paradise. She and I will do a whole series on one of my channels called Finding Olivia Her Bachelor, because I loved Olivia so much on that show. But anyway, it cracks me up that these people, once they get on these shows, they're no longer like Peter, Mon. They're like Peter on Charity's season, or Peter on Zach's season, or Peter on Katie's season, or whatever season you're on. Some people are on 2 seasons, okay? And I didn't know back then either, my husband had to explain this to me, that whoever is like the contestants on The Bachelor, like the women, one of them is picked to be the Bachelorette, okay? I didn't know that you had to like have, like the Bachelor is like a prelim to being the Bachelorette, like in a pageant system, okay? I didn't know this. What's so funny about this show to me, right? So I'm now like caught up on The Bachelor. I think next week is the reunion of all the women that have been on The Bachelor, and the week after that is probably the finale. But what is so funny to me is that the whole idea of this show is so traditional. Like, it's like true love, and, they never have any gay people on the show and things. It's very traditional, okay? It's very, very traditional. But it's literally like one man dates 32 women, or one woman dates 32 men, and then all this kind of stuff. This season, it was so funny. I didn't realize there was so much drama that happens in the house between the women, because, like, Sydney and Maria, they got into it and said both of them were calling each other bullies and stuff like that, because that didn't really happen on The Golden Bachelor, which was my introduction to it. All the women on the Golden Bachelor pretty much got along, except for Teresa and Kathy told Teresa to zip it. But that was really it. And then Teresa and Kathy ended up being like really good friends, and Kathy was in Teresa's wedding. In fact, she hosted, was one of the hosts of the Golden Bachelor. So all the women in the Golden Bachelor got along, and they were all good friends, and they have like been on everything. And I have to just tell you, Susan has literally been on everything. And she was on The Bachelor this week. She gave advice. So they had 3 of the women from the Golden Bachelor come and give the women advice that made it to the final 3, and which I thought was interesting, their picks of who they picked and how it affected how the women look at things, but we'll get to that in just a second. So anyway, I have to tell you, I have loved Susan from the very, very beginning. Susan reminds me of my friend Valerie so much. In fact, Valerie called me and she was like, who did you say reminds me of you on The Golden Bachelor? Because her boyfriend said that, this one woman. And I said, Susan. She's like, oh my God, that's who my boyfriend says. So she is so much like Susan. And I love Susan so much. I hope to God Susan becomes the Golden Bachelorette, because they're casting men for the Golden Bachelorette now, which means they've already picked who the Golden Bachelorette is going to be. And I think it's going to either be Susan or Leslie or, who is the other one? Ellen. I think it might be Ellen. So anyway, but I loved the Golden Bachelor so much. But the women on The Bachelor, I mean, they fight tooth and nail. Now, I have to say, now, if you've never watched The Bachelor before and you're going to go back and watch it, all of my videos on this channel are spoilers, okay? I mean, I'm just going to talk about the shows if you're watching it with me. So I'm watching it, and they're like fighting and all this kind of stuff, fighting over Joey's love. One of the things that was weird to me was that, like, the last group date that they did in Canada, all the women were complaining that the group date was weird. They're like, it's just weird. It's like, I have real feelings for Joey, and Joey has real feelings for 22 women, and I don't know how to reconcile that. Like, I don't know how to go on a group date when he's kissing this girl, and he's kissing that girl, and all these girls are, like, fighting for, like, this one girl, she said that it was kind of like Joey and his harem, like it was a cult, and I was like, oh my God, that's exactly what it is. The group dates are weird, okay? They're fucked up. They're weird. And it's like one guy or one, you know, with Bachelorette, I guess there'd be one woman with all these guys. But the group dates are weird, okay? It's one guy and all these women fighting for his attention. And so when the woman said it, I was like, oh my God, that's so true. But like, this is my first time watching The Bachelor, okay? These women grew up watching The Bachelor. Like, they dreamed of being on The Bachelor. So they know what it's like. It cracks me up because they sit in a room, right? And they'll read off like all the people's names that go on the group date, and they have to act real excited, you know. It's like, oh, they'll be like, these are the people that are going to the group date, Peter, and then I go, ah! But really, I'm so pissed inside that I didn't get a one-on-one, and they are so, and by the end of the show, like the last group date, they no longer can hide it. They can no longer hide it. They're like, they get called out for the group date, and they're like, ah, fuck, like they're so pissed, and like it pans to them, and it goes like the diary room, and they're like, well, I mean, I really would have liked a one-on-one with have more time with Joey. Like, I mean, Joey, doesn't he know that I'm in love with him and I want to spend more time with him? But, like, they get to go on the group date. The group dates are weird. The whole show is weird, okay? Like, on any given night of the rose ceremony, when they have the cocktail party, there's all these weird things, right? So there's the cocktail party that precedes the rose ceremony, which, by the way, okay, if you watch Traitors, Phaedra's fantastic line, okay, at the round table to Peter, who had been the Bachelor, she looked at him and she said, and what you forget is that this is not the Bachelor, and I don't have to kiss your ass for a rose. And at the reunion, Peter gave Phaedra a rose, and he said, well, you accept this rose. The whole thing to me is so weird, but this is the thing with, like, Bachelor Nation. You either have to completely buy into it and, like, kind of let all weirdness go out the window, or you kind of, like, have to be like, I can't with this show. Because, like, the show is so weird, and it, like, it plays behind this, like, traditional idea of, like, love at first sight and all this kind of stuff and fairy tale love. But the reality is, okay, that the Bachelor is kissing, like, 10 women in one night during the cocktail party, and then kicking 3 of them out that he doesn't think that he can see a future with. And some of those women he's kissed at the cocktail party and told them that he's falling for them, and then he kicks them out and they don't get a rose, right? Okay, so now we're down to the final 3, right? It was down to the final 4, and Maria was the one that didn't make it. So Maria, they're in this, you know, plane hangar, like at the very end, and it's all 3 of them. It's Kelsey A, it's Rachel, it's Daisy, and it's Maria. And I have to tell you, they were probably my top 4. Lexi I loved, but she left early because she had some medical issues and she wants to have kids earlier than on Joey's time schedule, and I totally understood that, but I thought Lexi and Joey would have made a fantastic couple. And so I'm watching all this, right, and it's like, So Maria, who is total drama the whole season, and I know a lot of people, like my cousin Caroline, is like, why did he pick Maria to go to Hometowns? Because last week was Hometowns. Hometowns is where you go and you meet everybody's, like, their family and stuff like that, which was interesting to me because I think they spread it out over 2 episodes on The Golden Bachelor, and it was only 3 women whose hometowns he went to. On The Bachelor, it was 4 women, and it was 1 episode, and I think he spent, like, maybe, like, 6 minutes with each family. Somebody is speeding down the street! My old people's neighborhood. She can't wait to get home and see The Bachelor. Anyway, it's like he spends like 6 minutes with each family member, right? Or like has dinner with them or whatever. But anyway, on The Golden Bachelor, like they really spent time with their family. On The Bachelor, not so much. And so the hometowns were real quick to me, and it was kind of interesting. And so Maria, who's been a lot of drama the whole season, like I never really understood what, like, I mean, she's beautiful and all that kind of stuff, but I didn't really understand what Joey saw in her because there was a lot of problems. He called them bumps in the road. There's words you have to use when you're a part of Bachelor Nation, like connections. If I never hear the word connection again, I will be fine, okay? Like, oh, well, I have a connection with you. We had a missed connection. Our connections didn't mean. I think I'm having a connection with Joey. I think connection basically means I'm in love with you, is what it is, right? So it's all these words you have to use if you're part of Bachelor Nation. So anyway, which you start learning, and then you start saying those words, and you start realizing that you have fallen into the cult of Bachelor Nation. It's a cult. I'm telling you, it's a cult, okay? And I have totally fallen into the cult of Bachelor Nation. So anyway, so I'm watching all this, right? And for the hometowns, like Maria and Joey go on this date, and they do this like shot of this, like she brings this shot of like this maple whiskey, and they're like on this boat over Niagara Falls, and they just seem so natural together. I was like, I totally understand what he sees in her. Like this makes a lot of sense. But then they like played it off like her dad, like they acted like he was like some like mob boss, mafioso sitting back, and it just, the whole thing was weird. But anyway. But Maria is always somebody at the last minute to pull Joey and want to talk to him about something serious. And so the 4 of them are standing there in the hangar. He's getting ready to give out the roses. And she goes, Joey, can I talk to you for a second? Because in the hometown, she didn't tell him that she was in love with him. Now she knows that she's going to lose her opportunity, so she better go tell him that she loves him. So she goes and tells him she loves him. Rachel, who is so sweet. I love Rachel and I love her family and everything. She goes, what did you have to say to him that was so important? And Maria goes, I'll tell you later. Because she thinks she's going to get picked. Well, she don't get picked. Maria is cut, okay? She don't got the boot. She don't get kicked out of The Bachelor, okay? I'm like, I have my AirPods on. My husband's watching the show on the TV. I got my AirPods on, eating my dinner, watching it. I'm like, yes, finally got rid of Maria. Go, Maria. But this is the thing about Maria, okay? Maria will do so well on Bachelor in Paradise. She will, okay? Maria, they're not going to ask Maria to be the Bachelorette anyway. They're going to, I don't know who they're going to ask to be the Bachelorette. Definitely not Sydney. That all she cared about was taking out Maria. Sydney, I think she has problems, okay? Sydney was the girl. Like, even after it was said and done, and she said that Maria was bullying her, when Maria had let it go and had dropped it completely, like, they showed the next episode, and Sydney was like, no, I'm the only one left that can take Maria down. I'm going to take her down so that Joey knows the truth. I'm like, this girl is... I think she needs professional help. Like, there is something wrong with this girl, okay? Like, this isn't, I'm so confused, okay? So, I'm watching all this, right? And so, now it's down to the final 3, okay? And it's Rachel and Kelsey A. and Daisy. And I love all 3 of them. I think all 3 of them would be fantastic for Joey. And Joey is so sweet, and I love him, right? But I don't think that Joey's over Charity yet. Because, you know, like, when you go on a first date, and the person that you're on a date with constantly talks about their ex, like, Joey's always talking about how Charity didn't love him the way that he loved Charity. I'm like, girl, Charity's getting married. She's with somebody else, okay? She was on the Golden Bachelor wedding. Like, it's done, okay? Joey, you need to get over Charity. She don't want you. She was on Dancing with the Stars. I think she might have won it or something. I don't watch Dancing with the Stars. I think that show's stupid. But anyway, I think she might have won it. But Charity, she don't want you, Joey, okay? You got 3 women here, okay? So, Daisy, who grew up on a Christmas tree farm, and she's the one that has the cochlear implant and stuff like that. I love Daisy. I love her so much, okay? And then Kelsey A. that lives in New Orleans, and her mother passed away not too long ago. And then Rachel, that's originally from Hawaii, which I think is kind of an interesting pick because he lives in Hawaii. I thought he was from Pennsylvania, but he lives in Hawaii. She lives in Hawaii, okay? So I thought that was, she says she lives in Chickamauga, California now or something like that, but she's originally from Hawaii. So I thought, oh, that's a convenient pick, right? But I love Rachel, and I love her family and all that kind of stuff. My husband's from Venezuela, so I love the culture of his Venezuelan family, and so, like, he stepped into that with her Filipino family, and I just love the whole thing, right? So I love all 3 of them. So they all go on their one-on-ones, their dates, you know, when they're in Tulum. They're in Tulum this year, right? I don't know, the Bachelor Nation must have some deal with, like, tourism in Mexico because they get all these places for free. They stayed at Secrets in Tulum. Have you ever been to Tulum? Tulum is beautiful, okay? Out of all the places in the world that you can stay in Tulum, you have those houses that are made of trees and things like that. Y'all decide to stay at Secrets. We stayed at a Secrets one time, and we were in Mexico a couple years ago, and this couple that we met from Austin, Texas, they were so nice. We love them, and we still stay in contact with them and stuff like that. But the wife looked at me and she goes, "We were going to go stay at Secrets in Punta Cana. That's where you stayed." And I go, "Yeah." And she goes, "Can we ask you a question?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she goes, "My mom said that Secrets is like a swingers place. Is that true?" And my husband and I looked at each other. I was like, "Well, if it is, nobody was hitting on us because we were the only gay couple there, you know." But anyway, I don't know if Secrets is about swingers, but if it is, it's the perfect place for the Bachelor, okay? Because Joey hooks up and has sex with all 3 women. They don't show it, but they imply it, okay? Which is so weird to me that, and you know that's what you're doing, okay, when you make it to the final 3. I, honest to God, thought that it was going to come down because the first one was Rachel, and she's like, "Let's go, baby, let's go. Let's do this date." No, the first one was Rachel. And they each meet with one of the women from the Golden Bachelor first, okay? So, Rachel met with Susan, all right? Then Kelsey A, who I love all of them, but I think Kelsey A and Daisy are probably my top picks for Joey. So then Kelsey A, she meets with Leslie, okay? Well, I love Leslie from the Golden Bachelor, but Leslie also allegedly had an intimate evening with Gary Jerry on the Golden Bachelor, and then he picked the other woman, okay? And really didn't take any responsibility for it, and when she called him out for it, because he was all like, "Oh, Leslie, it's gonna be okay," she says to him, and they showed it, and the live audience went crazy, and she said something to the effect of, "Jerry, I could really give a shit right now, like, your feelings don't mean anything to me," and the whole audience applauded. I love Leslie, okay? I don't know that I think that Leslie was the right person to pick to come and talk to Kelsey A, who already had doubts about the situation. Because Leslie's like, "Yeah, Kelsey, like, you might not be the one that's picked, and you need to prepare yourself for that." So Kelsey, who's already in her head that he's out on dates hooking up with 2 other women that he's been kissing the whole season, and he's probably having sex with them in this fantasy suites. Is that such a weird word anyway, fantasy suites? Like, if somebody said to me, "You want to go to the fantasy suites?" I'd be like, "Is there a whirlpool and mirrors on the ceiling?" Like, that is a weird word to use, fantasy suites, okay? But hey, do you or do yourself or do whoever in the fantasy suites, I guess. Fantasy suites basically means a nicer room than the room you're already staying in at Secrets, which is apparently for swingers, and Joey's there with his 3 wives or something like that. The whole thing's so fucked up. But like I said, if you're going to watch it, you got to throw all your feelings out the window and just buy into it, right? So now Kelsey A, okay? Leslie done tripped her up in her mind, okay? But that don't stop her. She goes on the date anyway and has sex, well, allegedly, okay? And she goes to fantasy suites. Wakes up the next morning, they're eating bacon and all that kind of stuff. Then he packs up, takes a shower, and he goes on a date with Daisy from the Christmas tree farm, okay? Now, Daisy and I met with that one gal from the Golden Bachelor. I can't remember her name, but I loved Sonia. I think her name, Sandra. I love her so much, okay? She made a good Golden Bachelorette, too. And she's like, she and Susan both hyped the girls up. Leslie's like, "Oh, no, this isn't going to work for you. You ain't going to get picked. Don't get your feelings hurt when you don't get picked." I'm like, Leslie is still so bitter as sin. They should not have asked her to come here and meet with none of these women. And like I said, I love Leslie. I thought he was going to pick Leslie over Teresa, okay? I understand why she's bitter, but maybe she shouldn't be giving advice to none of these women because she, like, Kelsey A is looking at her like, "Oh my God, I'm not going to get picked. I'm going to go home." And I'm thinking, he's going to pick Kelsey A. Like, that's what I'm thinking at that moment, right? So the whole episode ends, well, Daisy, she don't have her fantasy suite moment with Joey, too. So now he's had 3 dates on 3 nights and allegedly had sex with 3 women in 3 nights. I mean, he looks like, you know how they say, save a horse, ride a cowboy? He looks like he is like that cowboy, okay, after 3 nights. He leaves them fantasy suites with his hair all messed up. He looks a mess, okay? Now, he allegedly had sex with 3 women in 3 nights, and they all know about it, okay? I am too jealous, okay, of an MFer to ever go on that show and know that there are 2 other people that are sleeping with my man, okay? They all say that he's their boyfriend. The whole thing is so weird to me, but hey, I think, like, some of them have kind of bought into it a little bit, you know? But they all seem like they're upset about it. And like, did you not see the past 322 seasons of The Bachelor and The Bachelorette? The exact same thing happens. Hell, Gary Jerry probably popped a Viagra, you know, or a Cialis or whatever and got it on with all 3 of them women. We know he did with Leslie. That's why she was so bent out of shape, you know. But anyway, allegedly. You got to say that to cover your tracks these days, you know. But anyway, so I'm watching all this and I'm like, at the end of it, he gets this note card in his, what do you call it, in his door. And it's from Kelsey A. And I'm like, oh, see, Leslie done fucked with her head. And now she wants to have a serious talk with him. Well, I think what she's going to say is, you either pick me and tell me in this moment that it's me. I'm not waiting for this rose ceremony, okay? It's either me or I'm going to leave. If it's not me, then I want to leave on my own decision-making and all that kind of stuff. Somebody's walking their dog down the street. Oh, that's such a sweet dog. I am not going to sit here and wait for no rose ceremony knowing I just did it up there with you and we got all intimate and things like that. I'm not waiting for that moment for you to say I wasn't good in bed and you don't have the same feelings for me as the other two gals, and then I don't get no rose and I get sent home. If I'm going to go home, I'm going to go home on my own regard. I'm not going to be the Leslie, okay? That's what she's thinking. So she wants to have a serious conversation with him. That's going to be the serious conversation. You either tell me right now that I'm the pick or not. And what he's either going to do is he's either going to say, yeah, you are the pick, or he's going to say, no, I can't break the rules of The Bachelor, so if that's the decision you have to make, you have to go home, and then she's going to go home. And then it's going to be down to Rachel and Daisy. And I think he's going to pick Daisy, but here's the thing, okay? Daisy has never been able to commit to the fact that she really has that strong of feelings for him. On the hometowns, she finally said she was falling in love with him, but she's always kind of been like, she even said in there, okay? She was like Phaedra. She's like, I don't have to kiss your ass for a rose. She even said it, okay, a couple episodes ago. She said, I'm not going to tell him I love him just to get a rose. If that don't get me a rose, I'm not going to tell him I love him, right? Well, they already show Joey at the very end, and he is standing there like he don't get to engage somebody. I think that's a trick. I think he has one woman come down, and he tells her he can't marry her, and that's where that whole scene is, and he gets to get remiked, and then the other woman comes down. But if it does turn out that the woman at the very end turns away and says, I can't marry you, I think it might be Daisy. I think he might pick Daisy in the end, and she might say, I have very strong feelings for you and I'm in love with you, but I cannot get engaged to you yet. I don't feel that strongly. You know, I will say this. All of these women are very, very sharp and very smart. Like when you watch Bachelor in Paradise, like that Kaylee, like all of them that got engaged on that show, they are broken up now. Did you know that? All of them, okay? Like, and I liked a lot of that Liza girl. She done found out that that guy was, I don't know what his name was, Brandon or something like that. He was a cheater. They done broke up. That JT, that, I can't remember, the scuba diver guy, whatever, he ended up getting engaged or moving in with that girl, Kat. She's crazy. That Kat girl, she is crazy. I don't know how they didn't see that a mile away, right? They done broke up already. Kaylee and what's his name, Eileen or something? I can't remember what that guy's name was. But anyway, they were both beautiful. But that was the only thing they had in common was they were both beautiful. And she wanted to get a ring on her finger first date. She done ditched every other man when she saw, she was like, Asen, is that his name? Asen, something like that. She was like, I saw him coming down and I knew that that's who I wanted to be with, right? Well, they done broke up. Anyway, so I can't wait till Bachelor in Paradise. Can we just get to next fall and get to Bachelor in Paradise? But that's what I think is going to happen. Now, I'll have to tell you, out of the three that I think he should pick, this is what I'll tell you what I really think. I don't think that Daisy is all in it yet, okay? Like, I don't think she's all the way there yet. I love Daisy, and I think he's a good fit with her family. I think he's a good fit with all three of the families that are left, and I loved all three families that are left, okay? I think Rachel makes sense because he lives in Hawaii, and she is from Hawaii and things like that. Kelsey A, I love. They don't seem to me to have the magic that he has with Rachel or he has with Daisy. I think he knows that. So I think he's going to let Kelsey A go on her own, and then I think it'll be down to Rachel and Daisy, and he'll pick Daisy. But I like him both with both of them. I think the best pick for him, because I don't think Daisy's all the way in yet, is Rachel. And I think he and Rachel would make a fantastic couple. I think he and Daisy would make a fantastic couple. I think he and Kelsey A would too. He and Kelsey A don't seem to have the sparks that the other ones had. I actually think he had more with Maria than he had with Kelsey A. So I just think that he thought there was so much drama with Maria that he'd get with Maria and then she'd be the one that would turn crazy. But we already going to see a couple of these girls down the road, I can tell you. Like that Leia, that Jen, and Maria, they're going to all of them be on Bachelor in Paradise, or one of them will be the Bachelorette. I think Jen might be the Bachelorette next season. Not this upcoming season, but the season after that. I think she might be the next Bachelorette coming out of this season. She's gorgeous, and she was not problems the whole season. She was very supportive of the other girls and all that kind of stuff. Plus, they're going to interview her next week and ask her if she's still real upset over Joey not picking her. So I think that might be, you know, who they pick. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section below. I love you guys, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.